Your muscles already know movements you've never physically performed. That sounds like something from a late-night infomercial, but it's been measured in labs with electrodes taped to the arms of Olympic athletes. The body you're walking around in right now responds to vivid imagination the same way it responds to lived experience. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why your inner world is the training ground that shapes everything your outer world becomes. In the early 1990s, researchers at the Cleveland Clinic studied a group of participants who performed mental contractions of their little finger muscles. 5 sessions a week, 12 weeks, no physical exercise at all. Just sitting still, imagining the movement with full concentration. The results stopped people mid-conversation at conferences. The mental rehearsal group increased finger abduction strength by 35%. The control group, doing nothing, showed 0 change. And the physical exercise group, they gained 53%. The gap between imagining and doing was far smaller than anyone expected. Think about what that means for how you approach your work. Every hour you spend mentally rehearsing a presentation, a negotiation, a difficult conversation, your body is already encoding the motor patterns. Your nervous system is firing in sequences that mirror actual performance. The boundary between real practice and imagined practice is thinner than a sheet of glass. Elite athletes have known this for decades. The Soviet Olympic teams in the 1970s and 80s divided their training into physical and mental components, and the athletes who spent the highest proportion of time on mental rehearsal consistently outperformed those who trained only physically. The specifics varied by sport, but the pattern held. A sprinter visualizing the race, the crack of the starting gun, the explosive push off the blocks, the lean at the tape, was building the same neuromuscular coordination as the sprinter on the track. Slower, yes. Less complete, yes. But the same architecture. So why does your body respond to something that exists only in your mind? The answer lives in how your brain processes intention. When you imagine a movement with enough detail and emotional engagement, your motor cortex activates in patterns nearly identical to actual execution. Researchers using transcranial magnetic stimulation have shown that the electrical signals traveling from brain to muscle during vivid mental rehearsal are measurable. They're smaller in magnitude, the muscle doesn't fully contract, but the signal pathway is rehearsed. The wiring gets reinforced. Every mental repetition deepens the groove. This is where most people stop at the interesting science fact, and this is where the real work begins. Because mental rehearsal only works under specific conditions. Passive daydreaming produces almost nothing. Wishing you could play piano while you scroll through your phone generates 0 neuromuscular activation. The imagination that moves the body requires the same qualities that move anything worth building: discipline, specificity, and sustained attention. Neville Goddard taught this principle decades before the neuroscience caught up. He called it living in the end, occupying the feeling of the completed desire so fully that your entire physiology responds as though the thing has already happened. The language was spiritual, the mechanism turns out to be measurable. When you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, with genuine sensory vividness, feeling the handshake after closing the deal, hearing the applause after the performance, sensing the weight of the trophy, your body doesn't distinguish between the assumption and the event. That's the part most people skip past too quickly. Your body doesn't distinguish. Let that land. The same muscles fire, the same neural pathways activate, the same hormonal cascades begin. Your physiology treats a vividly imagined future as a present tense experience. Now here's where skepticism usually shows up, and it deserves a fair hearing. Someone will say, if imagination were enough, everyone who daydreams about success would be successful. And they're right, in a sense. The daydreamer sitting on the couch picturing a mansion while avoiding the hard phone call is performing a different act entirely. That kind of imagination is escapism. It uses vagueness as a shield against the discomfort of real engagement. The mental rehearsal that rewires your neuromuscular system requires you to feel the discomfort of the performance itself, the nervousness before the pitch, the fatigue in mile 23, the tremor in your voice when you say the thing you've been avoiding. You have to rehearse the hard parts, especially the hard parts, because those are exactly the moments where your body needs the pre-built pathways most. This is the discipline that separates mental rehearsal from wishful thinking. And it's the same discipline that separates people who talk about work ethic from people who embody it. Consider a surgeon preparing for a complex procedure. The best surgeons in the world spend time the night before mentally walking through every incision, every potential complication, every decision tree. They feel the weight of the instruments. They visualize the anatomy from the specific angle they'll encounter it. They rehearse the moment where something goes wrong, the unexpected bleeding, the variant anatomy, and they practice their response in their mind until the motor pattern is grooved so deep that when it happens in the operating room, their hands move before conscious thought catches up. That gap between stimulus and response is where mental rehearsal earns its keep. You've already felt this in small ways. You've rehearsed a conversation so many times that when the moment arrived, the words came out smooth, almost automatic. You've visualized a route so clearly that driving it for the first time felt like the 10th time. Your body remembered something it had only imagined. The question worth sitting with is, what are you currently rehearsing without realizing it? Because mental rehearsal runs constantly. Every time you worry, you're mentally rehearsing failure. Every time you replay an embarrassing moment, you're strengthening the neural pathways associated with shame and hesitation. Every anxious scenario you build in your mind at 3 a.m. is a training session. Your muscles tense, your breathing shallows. Your body prepares for a catastrophe that exists only in your imagination, and that preparation is just as real, just as physiologically encoded, as the athlete's visualization of victory. You're already using this mechanism every single day. The only question is whether you're using it deliberately. This is why Goddard's instruction was so specific. He didn't say, think positive thoughts. He said, occupy the state, feel it in your body. Fall asleep in it. Let the imaginal act be so real that your muscles relax into it, that your breathing shifts, that your facial expression changes. He was describing, in spiritual language, exactly what sports psychologists now prescribe with clinical precision. The practical application starts tonight. Choose one outcome you're working toward. Something specific, a conversation, a performance, a moment of completion. Sit or lie down in a quiet space. Close your eyes and build the scene from inside your own body. First person, never third. You're in the room, you feel the chair beneath you. You hear the specific sounds of that environment. You feel the emotion of the accomplished thing, the relief, the satisfaction, the quiet pride. Stay in it. Let your breathing settle into the rhythm of someone who has already arrived. Your hands might twitch. Good. Your shoulders might drop. Even better. Those are the muscle fibers activating. That's the neuromuscular system receiving instructions from an experience your body can't tell apart from reality. Do this for 5 minutes, then do it again tomorrow. And the day after. The athletes who benefit from mental rehearsal don't do it once and wait for magic. They do it with the same consistency they bring to physical training. The discipline is identical. The commitment is identical. The only difference is the venue, the inner world instead of the outer one. And this is the deeper truth that the research keeps circling back to. The inner world and the outer world are less separate than you've been taught. Your imagination is a workshop. Every scene you build there is a blueprint your body begins constructing the moment you commit to it fully. The Cleveland Clinic study measured finger strength, but the principle scales. It scales to your career, your relationships, your capacity to stay calm under pressure, your ability to perform when everything depends on the next 30 seconds. The gap between who you are today and who you're becoming tomorrow is being bridged right now in every mental scene you inhabit. The surgeons know it. The Olympians know it. The question is whether you'll treat your own inner rehearsal with the same seriousness, the same rigor, the same daily commitment that they do. Your muscles are listening to every scene you play in your mind. They've been listening this whole time. Tonight, give them something worth rehearsing.